Welcome to the Bothell Buzz. This fall, voters in Bothell will see two public safety measures on their general election ballots, Proposition 1 and 2. Let's learn more in this next segment.
So I think public safety services are such a huge part in making a city livable, and citizens really want to feel safe and they want to feel supported both in crime prevention as well as the response to emergencies like stolen cars or whatever it may be, in addition to when there's a medical emergency, feeling like they have the support from the city to come help them. So the city did a lot of outreach to the public, including stakeholder interviews and online surveys, just to kind of see where the public was on the current level of service and what their expectations were. Well, it was a really long, rigorous process over many, many months, and we really went back and forth with the staff, kind of questioning what the asks were and what the real needs were. And the City Council brought kind of their view of public opinion and really tested some of the requests. For instance, we really went back and forth on the capital bond. Would it be cheaper to do the rebuilds or would it be cheaper to renovate? And really pushed kind of back on what some of those requests were and made sure that we were making the best fiscal decision for the city. One of the things that I think really surprised council was the level at which our public safety employees are really respected and actually loved by the community. I think in these times that's a unique situation and it's something that we should be really proud of. So I see the council's job in this public safety levy as we're the ones that have to make the decision on what we ask for the public to support. We assess what the needs are and we make the decision of what to go on the ballot, but ultimately it's the public's decision on whether or not to fund these levies of bonds.
It's an opportunity for us to go from being primarily reactionary on calls for service to being proactive, to work the areas that we know that criminal activity is occurring and actually deal with it before it actually happens. I think the most pressing demands currently, it's staffing to provide the quality of service that we want to provide. With the staffing that we currently have, it's very much reactionary based. Typically on any given day, we have a sergeant and 4 officers who work the city of Bothell. That's our minimum staffing. And with the call load and the types of calls we're dealing with, it doesn't take but one major call to tie up our resources.
The services that this levy would provide for the city of Bothell would be a swing shift. That's a neighborhood business patrol. What it does is it puts more officers out on the street at the time of peak activity. A mental health professional that we call the navigator, who works in conjunction with police officers to assist people in a behavioral health crisis. A school outreach and safety officer for the schools in the city of Bothell. The school outreach and safety officer will be working with our navigator to be able to provide assistance and services to students that are suffering from maybe a behavioral health crisis or struggling with issues such as homelessness or addiction issues within their family, to help them before things get worse. Community crime reduction team to address emerging crime trends. This is a team that is really designed to hit on those issues that affect the quality of life for the people that live in our city. And additional staffing for our traffic unit and our detective unit. Proposition 1 will fund 13 new officers that will increase the ability for officers to visibly patrol in our neighborhoods and proactively combat the types of crimes that really affect the quality of life for residents in our city.
Prop 1 will give the fire department 6 more firefighters, which will help us to put a dedicated aid car or ambulance into service at Station 45 up in Canyon Park and serve the North Bothell area. Having the additional aid car at Station 45 will greatly help our response to that area for North Bothell and the Canyon Park area, but also the city in general. We haven't increased staffing in the Bothell Fire Department for 15 years, and in that time our call volume has gone up 50%. So we are having more and more multiple calls, and we are using out-of-area assistance from our surrounding fire departments, which is great. They do a wonderful job, but sometimes the response can be a little bit slower because they're coming from further away. Having that second aid car in the city will help improve our response times to our citizens.
So Prop 1, which is the levy, will be 44 cents per thousand AV, and that's equivalent to $220 for a $500,000 home.
Prop 2 will provide funding to replace our downtown station, Station 42, and our Canyon Park station, Station 45. Both of these stations were built in the early 80s, and they've reached their useful life. They get a lot of use from the firefighters 24/7, 365. They have not been updated for a long time, and there's several things that we need to do to bring them up to not just code compliance, but contamination and current fire service standards. So having two new stations for Bothell residents, these will give us a 40 to 50 years life for the station. We expect them to be in service that long. We're going to build these to the best energy efficient codes right now. They'll be safe for our firefighters and enable us to respond and to grow in the city for years to come. Having the fire stations will help our firefighters for a number of reasons. Right now, the stations are very poor for cross-contamination. We bring a lot of things back with us from calls that we don't know, and we try to keep that separate from our living areas. The current stations don't provide that ability to keep those areas separate. We need to improve that. We also have some gender neutrality issues. One of our stations does not have private dorms, and we need to fix that. There's an issue of updating some stations to current codes with sprinklers, the fire alarm systems, electrical. So there's a number of things that would improve to help our firefighters to respond better.
So Proposition 2 is the capital bond, and that will rebuild two fire stations, Station 45 and 42, and that will be assessed at 26 cents per thousand AV. So that'll be $130 for a $500,000 home.
Prop 1 and Prop 2 are very important for the fire department because just like police are experiencing, our calls are becoming more complex. We see more drug calls, more calls for mental health, and it just adds to our overall call volume. And the Prop 2 would help to give us a better place to put these firefighters as we've run out of room to grow in the city. As our calls have grown, our stations are getting smaller for us, and we need a place to put the people that we'd like to hire.
For more information on Propositions 1 and 2, go to the city's website. Thanks for joining us for the Bothell Buzz. See you next time.